game. Time to play the game.
Other jokes to mute themselves. Well, hello.
This is Pillpod Wrestling. I'm the Notorious ATB.
And I'm Just Incredible.
We have our good friends Juicebox.
Hey, yo. What up,
We have Herman Professor Barricade. And we have the return of Wiggy.
Hello.
Yeah, let's go. Welcome.
I just like to say that, I mean, it's in some circles, I was the notorious WIG.
Oh.
So, I mean, I think there can only be one.
Yep.
Well,
much like Highlander.
It's okay. You're a woman. You go into a different category.
Man, I knew that was coming.
All right.
A much higher one, clearly.
Wiggy, you know what? We're going to get your shirt made. Say you're the OTV.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go. We got you.
You can't hear me?
Careful, Spidey. I still go to New York.
There you go. It's the only place to be.
Who's Spotty?
It's all right. I'm a man of many names. You can call me Spidey.
Some might call them Alias.
You can call me Spidey. You can call me Alias. You can call me Juicebox. You can call me Juice if you're nasty. Whatever you want.
Do you know his name?
I think his name's Juventud Guerrero.
Nah.
I thought, but apparently I was wrong. I was expecting a different Juice.
No, Hoovy. Hoovy overrated. Let's go.
So Rock overrated him.
Juice has the benefit of actually having been in the house last night.
Yes.
For Grand Slam.
That's right.
Yes, indeed. I was there. It was fun times.
Was it as great as I thought it would be? Like, to me, I feel like that was probably a WrestleMania moment.
It was really cool. I mean, having seen them for so long, like in the ring against each other live and just in general, like to see that happen again is pretty wild. Like Final Countdown popped me big. I mean, obviously you expected it, but then they did the fake out with it. So that got me good. I was hyped for that. I enjoyed the match. I mean, obviously I don't think it's up there overall with all their other stuff, but this is from someone I just, I don't know if we all did. I rewatched them all recently this last week. So I had them all kind of fresh in my head.
I watched a couple of them.
Yeah, but
I skimmed through some highlights.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really good though, and it's funny. I heard somebody in the crowd say, like, even though they were doing like their match, they were like, "This isn't really a match you do." It's weird to see a match like that in front of like 9,000 people after seeing it for years in front of like a few hundred. So like for me, I didn't mind it. I expected it, but for a lot of fans, when you're hyped up and like that's your first match, I can get like everybody not being too crazy about it. But honestly, it was a good match. I liked it. I mean, the finish. I thought it was a little. I don't know if you checked out my show the other night, the Sharpshooters that we did on Twitch, but I kind of said the finish felt abrupt. It was one of those ones where I felt like 5 more minutes would have made it even better.
Yeah,
it felt very rushed to me too.
It did.
Yeah.
That was my immediate play.
It was one of those ones where like I didn't feel like the ending was coming, and I was looking away, and I heard the bell ring, and I was like, "What the hell?"
No.
Actually, I missed the actual ending, but like I mean, I knew what the move was, but I just didn't think that'd be it. But
I'm guessing that Danielson doesn't do the cattle mutilation because of his neck.
Yeah, I mean, he did it a few times recently. I think he did it against Swerve.
Yeah.
I know also he was recently like handing it off to Yuta, so I guess that's his way of like retiring it. But yeah, he hasn't done it that much in AEW, but I think he did do it against Swerve at All Out or All In.
And for me, I've watched their matches before, but I purposely didn't go back to watch any before this one. And the reason being because I already knew I would have tried to put it on a different level. And it's hard when you're a big fan of any rivalry that's on the lower card when it comes up to the big show and it's not a pay-per-view. It's kind of hard because you got time, you got the time limit, then you got other matches. So I enjoyed it. Like you said, I think that the ending left a little to be desired, but I love the key thing of the announcer saying that Nigel said thank you. I thought that was a perfect. If this is it, it was perfect.
I don't think Nigel actually said thank you though.
Well, apparently he did when he was tapping. I didn't. Again, this is watch it on TV, so I didn't actually see.
Now on TV, they blurted out.
They what?
And you could read his lips. I thought very clearly that Nigel screamed "F you" at the end of that match.
I'll have to go back and watch. I'll check that out.
But in his way, is that not a thank you?
I mean,
really,
it is a way.
I can see it being, F you for making me tap out.
Right.
It hits you with the,
Yeah. With the deuce.
I feel like the ending kind of especially hit hard in like the abruptness for old ROH fans.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are. Because I mean you're used to going to a show and you see like Dragon in a match, and there were like certain guys who had the same thing, and it's like you sit down and you're like, okay, this match could be 15 minutes, this match could be an hour. So in that kind of like back in the day ROH mindset was always kind of like buckle up because we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah,
so it's true. And especially knowing that Tony is he's us.
Yeah.
He is like the old school, on the board in 2005, and as we're all there on like weekend nights waiting for the results to come in, he's like that. So I personally was I was expecting I guess a little bit more of what I would call a Ring of Honor match, just because I know Tony's such a fan. But at the same time, there were times where Ring of Honor shows were grueling to sit through, and that doesn't translate well to television. Like it's it just doesn't work the same way. So I think kind of like just watch it. It's like kind of ended it. It's like, oh, I was check your watch. It's not like I was settled in for another half hour.
Well, and see again to your point. You couldn't let it go an hour because it would have took away from Danielson and Moxley. He just got choked out. So he comes back and do an hour match. That would take away from that storyline.
Yeah. Honestly, he came back after a beatdown and being choked with a bag, wrestled a 22-minute long match, and then showed back up an hour and a half later to attack the guys who choked him. So
yeah, I wasn't crazy about that. I was, I felt like the focus should have been on Dragon and Nigel. Yes, I'm aware the other stuff kind of has to happen, keep storylines and blah 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 blah. Keep that all going. But AEW has like 68 hours of wrestling a week. They couldn't have let them have the focus and not worry about the mock stuff until later. Let these two have their night after like 17 years or whatever it is.
Taking from the old ROH way, they easily could have put this on Collision. Because it would have been a great B show ROH main event.
Oh yeah.
And you could have made that the one match and let it run 50 minutes. And I definitely agree with you there. But again, when you can't let your champion who is already know his neck is shot, you can't go ahead and let him do a 50-minute match, win, and then like, okay, Mox, I'm coming after you. And they've already said that he's retiring after he loses the title. So it's kind of silly for me. And that's just the way I think of it. So as the match ended the way it did, it was a little empty, but I appreciate it. And it kept the storyline going. Plus, You never know what Nigel is going to do to get some revenge because it's not over.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought too. I was like, all right, that felt like that's not like a finality to it. Like, it's not like, all right, this is the end of it. And also, like, I kind of don't get why it was a 16-minute time limit. I mean, there's no title on the line. I thought it was going to be a 30-minute time limit. I thought it was going to end up being a
That
draw
would have made a lot more sense.
for 30. I did not expect a 60-minute limit for just a normal one-on-one. Usually I felt like 60 minutes is just for belts, but that's just me.
I kind of felt if Nigel was going to lose the match anyway, I really wish that they would have done it on pay-per-view and pushed the Moxley-Danielson back a little further.
Yeah, well, that whole booking pissed me off.
Wrestle Dream would have been good.
Yeah.
I feel like Wrestle Dream, that fits more Wrestle Dream's theme.
Yeah.
Than.
Yeah. Well,
And it was so rushed.
Yeah, well, a whole bunch changed. I mean, again, as somebody that was there and was going, I was immensely looking forward to Danielson versus Darby, and I wasn't happy at all that night when they pulled it and did the bait and switch and the Danielson Nigel, and like, you think you're crazy, like, it's Danielson Nigel, you should love that, and like, yeah, I loved it, but I was so looking forward to Danielson Darby, and they pulled the rug out, and then not to get too deep into it, but then also like Ricochet Ospreay was supposed to happen. Like, I got an email from like the merch shop AEW saying Will Ospreay fights Ricochet this Wednesday on Grand Slam. So like, they definitely flipped the match around. So either way, stuff got shuffled around, and that's how we got what we got.
And with that point too, I knew it was going to be shuffled around because they kept advertising so many matches for Wednesday. I'm like, how much time are they going over? You can't have 8 matches. No.
I would have been perfectly fine with that too, Curtis.
Yeah.
Easily could have done a draw for it.
This is one of the few wrestling storylines that I wish would never end.
And then I know we're talking about just Danielson and Nigel, but also like the post stuff with Christian and the pen. I don't need that. Like, come on.
Well, and
the cash-in attempt is fine. Like
that's a discussion for me.
Oh my God, you stole the pin, and I can't get a pin nowhere else.
I don't need that. Whatever. You got it. Kip gave it to you. Well done.
Yeah. Kip is my stepbrother now.
A word.
Christian is also my father.
Yeah.
That's a whole family tree.
Whole family tree.
So let's work backwards.
Okay.
Sure.
Obviously we had this match this week, and then we had the final countdown, Danielson and Nigel, that we all thought was going to be their final match.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I liked that match more. I felt like it meant more. Like, I feel like this was almost rushed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think some stuff happened, and they're like, "Oh crap, we've got to get this in because he's not going to be here too much longer."
I really wish that we had held off on Danielson's world title shot until All Out, and went with McGuinness and Nigel, McGuinness and Danielson at All In.
As like his final, Danielson's final match.
No, just let them wrestle at All In.
Yeah.
Danielson, McGuinness, not the main event necessarily.
Let him start the show even.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like that. I mean, whenever it is that Danielson's done, which is
Soon.
coming up on us pretty quickly, I feel like Nigel as his final opponent would have been really, really like fitting, and being the last match too. Then there would actually be a little bit of a surprise element. You're not going to go, okay, well, it's obviously going to be this because this is going to happen. It's where it would have that like that old school feel of like, let's just watch two guys who have such a storied history. Well, that's actually kind of one of the things I was thinking about is like, I've seen a lot of people with different opinions. Some loved the match, some did not like the match. I kind of feel like this is one of those matches that, I mean, there was so much build to it. The original matches have have kind of reached legendary status, or at least like the second head growing out of Nigel's head is a legend. And for so many years, it was like, oh, it's never going to happen. It can't happen. He's out, and now he's out, and so many things have changed over the last like decade and a half. That when it's finally like, oh, hey, it's happening. Is there any way on earth this match could have lived up to expectations?
No.
I don't think so. And I think also another thing that was the consensus, nobody was really shitting on him, but I think also something good to keep in mind is like it's been 13 years, and I think everyone kind of realized that. Like, yeah, it's been a while, and he's gonna be a little rusty. So he wasn't on his A game, but it was still very presentable. Like even Nigel on his B game is like, or C game is better than so many. Like,
oh yeah.
And that's a great point, Hoobie. Nigel McGuinness is, for his first match in 13 years, I thought he looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Hoobie was also in Manhattan for the Final Countdown match.
That's it.
yes.
So, can you recall the vibe for that one compared to Grand Slam?
Yeah, I really remember that one pretty well because it was very somber. It was like, everyone knew what it was, and everyone was like kind of at that point. I mean, this is what, 2009 at that point, so like everyone's still like afraid of what it's going to look like for him or both of them, like leaving.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's a little bit of an unfair question because I think it's way too much like apples and oranges to be able to compare that, because for whatever AEW is, and like
another one a few years later,
like this massive stadium and everything, ROH always felt very, and I mean, Spidey, let's stick with that.
Whatever you want.
I mean, in New York, you were there for so many shows.
Mm-hmm.
So you will especially know ROH shows back in the day felt like a family gathering.
Yeah.
In a way that AEW will never be able to do.
I'll tell you, I don't know how many AEW shows you've been to, but I know, like, for me at least, the first, like, because I went to the first Grand Slam, and the week before, like, that was like September 2021, like right when like Punk, Danielson, Cole showed up. Like during that time, those shows, it was like a party. And COVID. I mean, COVID was still going on, but everyone was like coming back to shows. All these people just showed up. So those two shows were like, they felt like that. But obviously, with time, that kind of the honeymoon phase goes away. But yes, Ring of Honor always felt that way. I mean, you're going from 1,000 people to like 9,000. It's a very different dynamic. But
and it's like it was so interactive.
Mm-hmm.
And like you could go to merch tables and you could meet the guys in intermission, and there were after parties they used to come to and stuff. So like
you could just go to the Denny's across the street.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like when Danielson left, it was kind of like you said, that somber mood where it was kind of like everybody there was like, oh, our son's going off to college and far away, and he's going to be starting his new life, and he's going to change his name because of reasons. So I mean, like this, I don't think you can compare them in any manner. No offense.
Yeah, no, and I totally get that, and I understand as well. And I know, like, my most surprising thing, even watching it back, I didn't think of this during the time, but like, you'd think typically with a wrestling crowd and a fan base, like any kind of fan base, they'd be booed out of the building the entire time, knowing, hey, these people are leaving. Maybe today it'd be more like that. But like even with Brock and Goldberg, they booed them out of the building, when they're leaving. Nothing like that at this match. No one was booing.
You didn't get that in ROH.
Well,
Ring of Honor fans weren't booing them.
There's no need to mention Goldberg on Kill 5 Wrestling.
But again, that goes back to Wiggy's point. It's a different fan base that we appreciate wrestling. So once we know we're not going to get to see you in that same level, you're going up to the big show, everything changes about you. So people want to give you your flowers and show you that love and admiration. So that's the thing about it. And
that was the best exit from ROH for me.
I think like Tony Khan could definitely do a little bit more to make ROH feel not. You can't recapture that magic, but you can get it a little closer to it, because if they had shows that were on TV and get to really experience the ROH wrestling style.
Why not just? He's just letting Rampage kind of flutter, anyways. Why not just let it be an ROH?
An ROH show. Yeah.
Well,
if he
and
wants to call it
ROH
something.
Rampage.
if the rumor is true, they may be getting their own channel and gonna be running ROH, which I think it would be great, because there's so many great. Oh man, their women's champion. I mean, she had just beat Samoa Joe's record, and every match she puts on are bangers.
Yeah, I'm a huge Athena proponent. I still watch Ring of Honor every week on Honor Club, and it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts to see what it's become, and I can go on and on about it, but that's not what this is about today. But I'm with you. I hope Flan gets a good home on Max, and they can figure something out with that and Rampage or whatever. But just to get back to the match itself at the Final Countdown, it's how I remembered it. I was a little let down by it even being live, but it's kind of because I expected. My mentality was, all right, these guys are about to leave for WWE. They're not going to go that balls out. They don't want to get hurt. Like, they'll give you a show, but they're not going to like do as crazy as they usually have done. And they didn't. And it was fine. It was a very good match. Like, nothing wrong with it.
And it was still longer than the AEW match.
It's true.
Well, yeah, that too. But it was good. It was a good match, but it's exactly how I remembered it. Just sitting there going, yeah, I knew they weren't going to do as much. But I think the Dynamite match will need more time in history to find its place. But I think that was probably... I'd say that was probably better than this one just because of history, but it's hard to say right now.
It's very fitting that they had that given society's current way of doing movies by popping out a sequel like 14 years later.
Yeah.
Or a reboot.
Yeah, that was all.
Maybe in 14 years there'll be the next installment. You know, they'll both be bald and fat and... You know,
it'll be Nigel's
tagging with their children or grandchildren.
Yeah, it'll be your dad cheated to beat my dad in their last match.
Right.
The referee could have counted to 10.
And then they could put Dominic in a steel cage, in a shark cage. Just why not?
By then, Dominic will be the vet.
Man, really?
Dominic will have his own wrestling.
There's Professor Bear's stalker.
Bryan Nigel match should have been last. You know, I don't think so. As someone that's been to all these Grand Slams and know how they work and how they tape them, I mean, I knew it was going to open. It made more sense for it to open versus close. And I mean, I get the collision point completely about it maybe fitting more in that vibe to give it more time. But I just think in this day and age with social media and leaks and this and that, you had to put this on your A show. It's the A story, even if it feels like it's shine in a B environment, which I get.
I think it means main event for last night.
Oh, well, even the main event, I still say even no for that. I still think they made the right call opening with it. My personal opinion, but
the only reason I think so is because I've heard a lot about AEW shows. Towards the end of them, everybody's kind of tired.
Yes,
you know, and that is the last thing. Like, I wouldn't normally be like, okay, yeah, this should open a show, but a match like that deserves that kind of peak excitement. You know, when everybody's in, everybody's ready to go. Put that on first, so everybody there like gives that energy, gets that energy. Yeah,
I'll tell you, like, even they're live, like, they did 2 matches before Dynamite, one for Ring of Honor, one for Collision they pre-taped. And then, like, by the time the show ended, the final bell rang at 12:15 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
Like,
especially it was a Wednesday. I mean...
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people let every match on
Sorry,
Collision,
Tony, but people have to work.
Every time a match ended,
you don't.
Every time a match ended, more and more people got up and started leaving. So it gets less
and
and
see,
less.
that's the same way it was when I went to the show in Atlanta. That was my first one, and man, I enjoyed it. But like you said, match ends, you see people get up and move, people leaving. I'm like, man, I didn't pay this much. I'm gonna be sitting here watching every match, even if Tony Khan came out and wrestled. I'm
with you. I'm with you. I'm like that too. I stay for the whole show. I don't get up. I'm there for the show. I paid. I get that. Yep.
Yeah, I've reached out to a friend who was there to see if he could score me a sweet Scapegoat autograph, but he's like, I'm not getting out of my seat, sir.
And I was honest. I told you I looked after. I looked. At that point, yeah. Just nothing left.
So, continuing with going back through the matches, to me, I think that their Rising Above match was probably in their top 5 matches they had against each other. I really liked that one.
That's a good one.
What about you, Professor?
It's been a while since I've seen the other one, so I'm gonna be biased, but it was good. Any match that can still tell a story after so long, it immediately catch me. It's just like when I seen Flair and Steamboat when they're old. Even though they're old, they still could tell a story, and it's like, man, that was wow. Then after I get the chance to calm down, think about it, it's like, okay, maybe it wasn't as great as I thought, but at the moment, it was great.
Well, you know what, like Yogi, if I may call you Yogi, I think all matches like are so much better live. Like wrestling is just one of those things. And I mean, I have been to my share of shindies, and wrestling shows are just super fun live. You might watch it back later or talk about it afterwards and be like, that was like the drizzling garbage. It was terrible. But it's when you're in the moment and you're there and you're with your friends and there's like, there's music, there's other people around you. It's just a good time.
I went to armory shows that had like 25 people and had a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just live wrestling is just a medium that, I mean, like I said, I've been to shows where I could absolutely say after every single match that stunk, but I still, me and my friends had fun. Even if we just had fun insulting it, we still had a good time. And it's one of those like very rare mediums where it's just like I think it's hard to just not have a good time. I think you kind of have to go in there with like a real like bad mood or something, because it's just so easy to have fun at wrestling. And I think far too often that is what is missing in wrestling. Everybody takes it so damn serious now. And it's like, come on. Do you realize what you're watching?
Sometimes people just need to
we're all dumb.
shut their mouths and enjoy wrestling.
We're all dumb, but that's the beauty of it. All wrestling fans are idiots.
Yeah.
Fine, we've accepted it. We're okay with it.
Exactly.
5-minute long women's match of grunting and groaning.
Okay.
You're a disgrace.
So
you are a disgrace, and I could probably beat you up.
That's one thing that I really
Stop
like.
just throwing that over there.
They never felt the need to get a pizza cutter or light bulbs. It was just pure wrestling.
So my only notes on the Rising Above match is this was that weird time in Ring of Honor where like Gabe just left and they were still doing the pay-per-views, which were like a weird kind of pay-per-view. Like they were doing it, but they weren't getting that much over. And like my only ding for this match, watching it back, because I had never seen it live. That's my first time watching it. Was I instantly knew it was Gabe was gone because there was an interference, and like Gabe just never did that. Very rarely had interferences where they helped factored in or whatever. And like Claudio came out and like, while the ref was distracted and took out Danielson, and then Sugarfoot Alex Payne shows up to help Danielson get back into the ring and make the 20 count. And I was like, okay, this is definitely Gabe being gone. And like,
I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, that was a thing.
No offense, Alex.
Yeah.
Is anybody else who was like a fan back in the day? Do you view Ring of Honor as like two separate entities, with Gabe, without Gabe? Because I 100% do.
Absolutely.
Like they just like.
What was it?
It's just it's as if it just split in two, and
it was his first, like his last show was when Homicide came back, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Because I think it was like a month or two before this show. Because I'm looking at the dates, and I think that's what they did. But my one good note I thought was really cool in this match was they did this really cool spot where Nigel took Danielson out of the cattle mutilation and lifted him up and put him on a turnbuckle to drop him with the Tower of London. It looked so cool. Like, so I don't think they did that in any of their other matches. So that was really nice. Really
that actually wasn't the main event that night either.
I know. I'm sure it was. Yeah.
They had a dark show match that was Samoa Joe and Tyler Black. It was Joe's return.
Oh.
Because Gabe had it planned to do Chris Hero and Samoa Joe, but he had never gotten to do it back in the day. So he wanted to do it as a goodbye / return for Samoa Joe in Chicago.
Wow. All right.
And my wife's completely wrong. I don't enjoy going this. I take it back. I like Timeless Tony Storm and Willow. I can watch Willow Nightingale wrestle.
Oh, Willow, man. Willow's awesome.
That should be a show. We should just do a show where ATB sits there with his mouth taped up and we talk about women's wrestling for an hour.
That would be great. I'd second that.
I could talk about death matches for hours.
The only problem is it's not going to stop him. He'll find a way to go through the tape.
He'll be in chat typing the whole time.
Now look, Smokey Cade. I know.
Dude, it was funny the first time. Now you're just trying too hard.
So let's just go ahead and figure out some logistics and do a trivia. And we'll let it, because we've already got our November and December lives planned. So we'll make it our first live of next year.
Easy.
If you win the trivia, you can pick the topic that we have to set through for a round table.
Oh.
But if I win the trivia, I pick the topic that we set through for the next round table.
Man, it's booked.
It's done.
All right. We will figure out the logistics of when and where we can do our trivia. And then I'm going to teach you the bare necessities of shutting your mouth.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
There.
That was a good one.
So, Nigel and Danielson, they had 3 other matches over in Germany.
Yep.
Tanner's got to unlock his phone so I can see the match listing again. We're multitasking. We usually have somebody to help with our technical stuff.
Our audio engineer, Dave, unfortunately decided he was going to get married this weekend. So I don't know what's up with that. So he's off this weekend.
Yeah.
Just so selfish.
What a
priorities,
you would think that the 3+ hours of comedy he gets out of us would be far worth more than time with his bride-to-be.
Right?
I mean, he's got all that time after the wedding to be with her.
I was about to say,
For 2 weeks.
Jeez.
Our shoot job is together. We're on the same team, even. And he's going to be off for 2 weeks.
He's off on his shoot job and his working job.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mess. What a mess.
Look, we know that you want Theo Joe Monroe, but unfortunately...
You want us too, Joe, but unfortunately, here we are live.
Yeah.
So, nice to see you, Joe.
Hello.
Theo refuses to take part. If you're going to be around, Theo says no.
Theo has actually started acting a lot like Juventud Guerrero lately since we had him on the last episode, and has been a big shot and refused to appear unless we paid him a fee tonight.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah, so instead he's out building a house in New York.
There you go.
Maybe he was up there having secret meetings
He's
with TK.
rebuilding Swerve's house.
Give him a hot dog and a handshake and move on.
So, we also... Okay, I'm assuming that you were at the 6th anniversary show too, John?
Yes.
Or Juicebox?
Yes, I was there. So the 6th anniversary show, that and the Final Countdown match. Those are the only 2 I was at live. So those are the ones I can really attest to. I watched them all, but yeah, that one. Like this rivalry as a whole, I saw it as it's a tale of like two halves, where like the first half of it was really to get over Danielson and his reign with the belt, and then once Nigel kind of took his shift and rise and became champion, then it became the second half more about like the Nigel like getting his win over Danielson and kind of closing that book on him. And while they didn't close it, still that's how I always saw it. So this was like peak heel Nigel. Like the crowd just turned on him like the show before in New York, because I believe he had a concussion like legit the weekend of like Rising Above and Final Battle 07. And so Nigel couldn't wrestle, or he was like pretending not to, and the crowd booed him, hated him. So he rode that heel momentum then into this next show, and everyone gave him shit. This was the most like character-driven match I think they had, where Nigel was really hamming it up with the audience, you know, giving them the doubles and all that stuff. And it was best. Honestly, I think this was probably their best match of their entire rivalry. That's me personally, but
It's a fair point.
That's a fair one.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
really
I mean,
think that
because
all their matches were.
they did the DQ tease where you thought Nigel got out of it with the DQ. Then you had like Aries and Steen and Delirious and Strong all come out and be like, "No, you get back in there. 6th anniversary. You got to do what Ring of Honor, is all about." And everyone's like, "Yeah!" And they restart. So it was good. I like that match a lot, and it's probably my favorite of all of theirs. Again, probably biased because I was there, but I after watching them all, I was like, I think it holds up as the best. There's probably one other I think was close. We'll get to that later, though.
We got a comment.
Ooh, tired of all these pod rats.
That is the legendary Theo Hughes, who tried to break our camera this week by throwing a Bill Goldberg beanie bear at it.
Ooh. Okay.
And he came on to talk about his favorite heavies, but it actually popped our ratings, and we had more views than we'd had for the last 3 episodes. So,
And unfortunately, in a very short amount of time, too.
yeah.
And unfortunately, he is the one, like I said, that has refused to come back on the show unless we pay him and or get him some, quote, pod rats. Too.
Yeah. So I guess what we need to do is make sure to mention our sponsor.
Ooh.
Green Hemp Company in Greenville, Tennessee. They're in the foothills of the Smokies. You can find them Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Sundays noon to 6 p.m. They have all the Delta 8 products that you could need, want, desire, all the good stuff you can get right there. Go see Donna. She'll get you a good deal, and make sure to hit them up. I'm hoping that she's fine with the rain. I know that she actually lost a dog this week. So we hit that for Donna.
Sorry to hear that.
Jeez. Do they ship locally or like nationwide?
Actually, they will ship.
Ooh.
They will ship to you, John.
All right, so there you go, all my New York people. You can definitely get in on that. And I have some friends that would definitely partake. Yes.
Well, hey, I really like their cereal bars and their gummies. Pan is more of a smoker. I use it more for medicinal than to get high, because my depression was getting insane, and that actually really helped out with that for me. So, and it actually lets me be able to go to the gym and work out and not feel miserable the next day.
There you go.
That's good.
I was happy to reach out to them and would you all be interested in being a sponsor? And they were all about it. So here we are.
Outstanding. People helping people.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's right. You got to help everybody rise that you know and like. Some of them you don't, like Joe Monroe Gang. So Nigel and Danielson, I know me and John went back and watched it for the first time this week. Their first match at Weekend of Champions.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you guys remember that one?
I do, because that's actually one of my favorite matches that they've had, believe it or not. I know it ended in count out, and that's super disappointing, but there was just a lot of aura in the building that night for their first matchup. And now, of course, at that time, I guess nobody knew they were going to do 11 more, but it worked out phenomenally. And that's what really kicked off the greatest rivalry in independent wrestling history to me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Yep.
Everything is a blur to me.
Yeah.
If it's not recent, it's kind of a blur.
So Wiggy,
So,
your face when he asked, you were like, it's like you didn't read the homework over the weekend for the assignment.
Yeah,
and you were like,
no, I mean, even a lot of the shows I was at back in the day, I'm a blur.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
Wiggy, you
I
were
had
running around
some.
with Shook D, so we know you've got some blurs going on there.
Oh, I what?
Sugar Dunkerton, Shook D.
Oh, shit, yeah,
Pineapple
sugar. Oh,
Yes, Pineapple Pete.
sugar. Sugar. Yeah, yeah. No, there's a lot of things that are just a blur from back then. And I mean, if you go back and watch some like uh '06 and '07 ROH, you can see a sleep. Let's call her sleeping Wiggy at a lot of shows in the first couple rows. I was tired all the time back then.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I was tired, very tired, especially 50th Festival New York. Actually, Spidey, you might have been at that show.
yes, I was. Yep.
Yeah, you can see me very clearly, front row, out like a light.
Oh, that was you? No, yeah. No. Yeah.
Hi. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, I've grown and matured since then, and
You know, we all do at certain points.
That's it.
You
I
learn
mean,
your way.
eventually, you have to grow up.
That's what it's all about.
At least a little.
I'm sorry. What are we all doing right now? We're talking about wrestling on a podcast.
Yeah,
We're not
really.
growing up that
So I mean,
These are our stories, Notorious. Let us have our stories.
yes.
I like
I can't share most of my stories. It's very unfortunate.
I know, right?
Like the driver of the Arctic bus.
I like one of the bits that started obviously with this match, and they kind of brought it back a few times early on, where one of them would use the announce table and like put it on them to like cover them or choke them and hold them outside for the count out win. It became like a nice little running bit between the two of them in their first few matches that I appreciated. But yeah, I think this was a good one. It was a good start where clearly Gabe knew he had a plan from here, at least going to either Epic Encounter or even Unified after that. Like he knew.
I think the plan was to get to Unified.
Yeah, like I clearly he knew what he was doing with the count out win, and then the next one, Danielson with the small package. So like they were never really getting their definitive wins along the way. So I like that. But and then of course Epic Encounter, which we'll get to in a little bit. But yeah.
I don't think anybody can say anything bad about Unified. That one was just a blast, and the fact that they did it in England made it even better.
Yeah, Unified was fantastic.
Where's the dislike button? It's on Joe Monroe's show.
Oh man. It's under the subscribe button with the little stars. We can donate money. That's where you dislike us. Just look for the star.
Yeah. Theo, the dislike button is what happens if you don't come back for another show.
That's right. We're not paying you, especially now.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously that was the hottest crowd they've wrestled in front of so far to that point. No offense to the other crowds in the first two encounters, but like they weren't really that loud and raucous compared to what they got overseas. And that's just
the England show, that was the
second
pinnacle.
one was the one that Nigel had the bad busted nose pretty early on in.
Yeah, and that's the classic headbutt turnbuckle moment that we all know with the head.
Yeah, I think that's about the only major takeaway from that one for me.
My only personal nitpick takeaway after watching all the matches was that was the only match between them that Sinclair did not referee. That annoys me.
Does anybody know what happened to Todd Sinclair?
I don't know. Honestly, I was half expecting him to be there on Wednesday. Not gonna lie.
Dude, I have hunted to try and get a hold of him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't find anything about him on social media, nothing since Tony Khan bought ROH.
Tony Khan's keeping Sinclair in a basement somewhere. It's crazy.
Who knows? He's probably working at like a Home Depot now. I'm sure he's happy. That's probably like I don't think he's doing anything like crazy. Who knows?
I don't know. Like there's even a like the Legacy of Todd Sinclair Facebook page.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah. Like and there's people wondering where he is.
Wrestling
fans. I legitimately have hunted for him all over social media to try and find Todd Sinclair.
It seems like
was that page started by Rod Binclair?
He just said that's where his mustache. They'll never know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I recently bought a ROH show poster that was signed by a bunch of people. I didn't know that he actually signed his name as Fat Pants.
Oh, I forgot Fat Pants. Oh, yeah, that was good stuff.
See,
Fat
I always thought Fat Pants was funny, at least to chant and say, and obviously he embraced it. But when I started getting annoyed was when like the fans would start going like Twinkies in between every count. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like 1 Twinkie, 2 Twinkies, 3 Twinkies. Annoying. Hated that.
Wrestling fans are the worst. They ruin
So
everything.
stupid, man. I hate that we love this. I want to get out. Give me a new one.
I will never forget
Hey,
going.
I got out for years and they've dragged me back in. There's no escape, dude. I'm
I'll
sorry.
never
I was
forget
close.
going to Dayton and seeing I don't remember who it was he was refereeing, but the guy next to me jumps up and he's like, "Sinclair, move your fat ass, you're blowing the match." And I was just like, Jesus, man.
Yeah, sometimes
And
you can hear
that's not ruining the match for anybody at all.
Yeah, sometimes you can hear it in the voice when they mean it versus being playful.
Wrestling fans are just kind of
Wrestling fans are the worst human beings usually, honestly.
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
the ones that
Can
don't
be.
know where the deodorant is.
Except for the 5 of us on this live tonight.
Oh, that's what I do every time. Every time I'm on,
Well, I
every
say
time-
4.
Except for you,
Ford,
Louis.
let the
I've got
fans
heat with you.
decide who
Except
I'm
for
talking
Koala
about.
Bear.
I love Bear. I've got Hoovy heat.
Well, I love Juicebox. I'm going to go on Juicebox's Twitch sometime.
You know what?
I'm going to break into
I might
Twitch
go-
on my own.
I might go shooting
you know,
on Sharpshooters live on Twitch.
you forget someone's name you never
Confident.
met one time. And
Hey, friends, Commander Q here.
hi,
Tander Q here,
The best beard in wrestling by far.
checking in from Friends of the Squared Circle. He should be sharing that instead of just talking to us. Joe Monroe's trying to make jokes about Cornette's house having Sinclair there.
fair enough. You know, every time I go to a wrestling show and I'm online and look around all the wrestling fans, I look at my friend and I'm always like, you know what? We're wrestling fans, but we're not those wrestling fans. We're not like
But we are, though.
like
It depends on the
I have-
day.
yeah. There's levels to it. But
I have
Oh,
never
there's a hierarchy of fans, absolutely.
absolutely,
yeah.
like
I have never been a wrestling fan that goes to a show and proceeds to wait in line for like 4 hours to get in the front door that I've already got tickets for. Like those fans are the worst fans on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're gonna get in. Just calm down.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
not gonna miss it.
I'm sorry in advance if any of you are one of these fans, but I just don't like the wrestling fans that come to the shows with the title belts. Like, come on. Just
I
don't-
agree. Unless you're going to defend them.
Yeah, like I just don't do it.
Well,
you know,
I
buy
don't
them,
like the
collect
ones that
them.
dress up in goofy costumes either.
Yeah, it's not Comic-Con, but
Yeah,
either way,
I don't need you to dress up like Randy Savage in the front row at WrestleMania. Dude.
Oh yeah, there's a guy
Like,
that dresses up as Dusty every show in the tri-state area. Always a guy dresses up as Dusty Rhodes with the muscle padding. You've probably seen him at WWE shows with Cody.
Yeah.
That makes Cody cry all the time.
Yeah, he does it all the time.
Cody cries like a baby every time he sees or hears the name Dusty or the NWA. My father, Dusty.
Oh boy.
You know, I really wish that Cody was still in AEW for Christian to come out and be like, "So I heard your father
is dead."
So
Oh,
we had the epic encounter
Yes.
that to me doesn't hold up. It is just too long of a match.
It's way too long.
It kills me.
See, this is my first time watching it this past week, and I loved it. Honestly, I mean, it probably helped that I watched like everything in order, but like this was like clearly the culmination of everything beforehand with like all the spots, the callbacks that they were doing. I'm a sucker for an hour draw. I love the, I'm all about more. Obviously, let it make sense, but they made it make sense, and I just think it was great. It was another way just to do it where like no one really gets a definitive win. Like, yeah, they each got to fall in their own way, but I loved it. Honestly, it's definitely in my top 3 of their matches that they've had. Probably even number 2, but yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really good.
Okay.
I feel like the only
I watched
reason
it a couple times and it just didn't work for me anymore.
It's definitely in my bottom 5.
the length of some matches really like I know I get I don't know about you guys, but I do not have the tolerance or attention span for hour-long matches anymore.
It has to
I
really
yeah,
capture my
it has to
attention.
be like favorites and like I just can't do it anymore. Gabe burned it out of me. All of those 4-hour shows, I just
There's a
Damn you,
Gabe
t-shirt.
sucked
There's
the
a t-shirt.
soul out of me, and I
Well,
just can't do it anymore.
This was that
Damn
same
you.
weekend where the
Can
very
I
next night
make
he
a
fought.
shirt that's got like pink on the top and then it's white and it just says Gabe burned it out of me.
So, what I liked about this match though was that it definitely was structured like 20-20-20, where we for each fall, and then the end game. And what I really dug, what helped me kind of flow through it, was like how they took a headlock and made it such a definitive part of the match where the crowd was eating it up. Like Danielson was like, I'm going to keep him in this headlock for 60 minutes. And the crowd was like, yeah. And then every reversal, he'd like get out of it. Danielson put him back in the headlock, crowd would pop. So I think that helped a lot with the first like 20 minutes, which is usually the hardest part to like let people not realize they're about to see an hour match. You got to really trick them and let them see the tricks kind of too, with like getting out of the ring, doing this and that. So again, I just thought it was a very well thought out and well paced match. But I think again, like you said, Wiggy, this was the same weekend where like the next night Danielson fought Colt Cabana to another hour-long draw. Like this was when he was doing the hour draws all the time.
I was at that show and I kind of remember it.
Hey, kind of remembering is a win for you. So I think that's good.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Because I know I was at least one Danielson hour-long draw, and I like the crowd was so dead for like 45 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Because we were all just like passing out on each other's shoulders. It was just like, Gabe, my dude, there's too much. There's such a thing as too much of a good thing,
Mm-hmm. I get it. I do.
But in that point, I've seen so many Ric Flair 60-minute, 90-minute matches. But I guess the difference is, like you said, Juice, the structure of it. And Flair knew how to keep your attention about the match. Even the little stupid small details. It's like, whoa! And like you've never seen him fall on his face before, but that pop, everybody is like, yeah, oh, he's fired up, yeah. So I'm so used to it. It's like, okay, entertain me.
Honestly, I'd rather. I mean, I know this is not a fair comparison, but like, I hate squash matches. Cannot stand them. If it's under 5 minutes, you're wasted my time as a viewer. So that's why I'm always in preference of like the longer stuff. But obviously, I don't think I've ever seen like a bad hour-long match. But again, that's just my personal preference with matches. I can't stand squashes. But another topic, another day. So
we watched a fun squash match the other day from WWE's Greed pay-per-view.
We did for the show.
okay.
Palumbo and O'Hare against Totally Buff.
Yeah, Buff Bagwell and Lex Luger.
Jesus.
It was like 4 minutes long. And
it was fun. It was unexpected.
Yeah, Palumbo and O'Hare beat him. Like Buff had been doing skits backstage all night, but then they turned around and had this like 4-minute match. It's great.
Oh wow, Spidey, what's your view on the whole Speed Championship thing they've got going on?
Oh, it's a joke. It's worse. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't watched any of them. It's because I know there's no point. I know what they're doing.
No, I'm only aware of it because of Twitter.
Yeah, that's exactly why they did it. They made an agreement with Elon to do it strictly on Twitter, and it got to the point where early on, like I think Andrade won it, and people were complaining. Oh no, Ricochet won it, and they were complaining about Ricochet why he didn't have the belt on Raw, and it was because they made an agreement with Elon where the belt would only exist like in that Twitter universe, and they don't want it on TV.
Oh, it actually. Oh, I've never watched or anything, but it's actually the matches air on Twitter.
Yes, this is exclusively like a Twitter vehicle.
3 minutes.
Yeah, there's like a 5-minute match on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't even think it's 5.
And
I think it's 3.
three.
Honestly, yeah.
And we're meant to take this seriously.
Honestly, all they're doing is putting out like the dark matches they're putting.
I'm about to say, listen to what you said. Take it seriously, wrestling fans.
Right? Yeah. Oh, God, wrestling fans. Wrestling fans have a history of taking things way too seriously.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that now there's a men's and a women's.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes.
It's a joke. It's really, I mean, whatever. People care, I guess, or like it, but that's the TikTok generation for you, where they're just like, oh, watch, quick thing, and they keep scrolling.
Yes, they have like a 90-second attention span, and if it's longer than that, then you scroll.
So that's all this is. But whatever. It doesn't even get acknowledged on TV. So
I didn't know that. That's funny.
And then tonight, Andrade's wrestling on SmackDown randomly.
Yeah.
Like
No,
Is he still in the Carmelo ways?
Actually, this is him and Carmelo. They're doing the 7th.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They had a best of series. My bad.
Man, Carmelo's fantastic.
He
Man,
is.
I think they did a great job, both of them, but it's not them. When you do a best of 7 series, it's to build both competitors. But I want to see what they're going to go with them from here, because you can build somebody, but it's what you do afterwards. If you just let them go back down to jobbing to anybody, who cares?
I totally misheard you at first, and I thought you said it was Andrade versus Carmella. And that, like,
Could have been.
I mean,
It would have been the match of Carmelo's career.
Well, hey, Corey would have jumped in. So I'm just saying.
Oh,
And
Corey.
then Charlotte runs in from the back.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
there you go. Great mix.
Enough.
There's a new mixed tag challenge right there. We're good to go. It's a new series on X.
and
It's all-
they'll make belts for it, and it'll air on Instagram, and
Yeah.
And the winners are Brandy and Cody.
of course.
You got to get Brandy over.
Oh, Brandy is I will say Brandy's the most beautiful woman in wrestling. I adore her. She is just babe and a half.
She got it going on.
I don't base
Wow, that killed the room. That was awkward.
No, listen, I'm with you. She's
Unlike
very
Wiggy,
attractive.
I'm not
She's
going
not
to
really.
who deserves the spotlight based on how they look.
That's correct.
Oh,
I
you
don't-
were very evolved. You were so. Oh, wow. I could not be more impressed right now.
Unlike
What
you
happened?
Canadians out there.
Whoa, I'm from Canada.
What's going on here?
I am from Canada. Would you like to see my hockey stick?
Oh, she's gonna make you see the hockey stick. You better be careful.
I bet you've got maple syrup.
I do.
If she ain't gonna use it.
And bacon. But I do have a hockey stick. I'm legally obligated to own one. We all are.
Yeah, I'm a Canadian also.
I thought you were gonna say legally obligated to tell you. I was like, oh.
You can,
No, I tell you because I'm so nice.
Of course.
Because I'm Canadian.
There it is. There it is.
And
Yeah, no,
you
I'm
a fan of
Randy
Bret
Rhodes
Hart,
is attractive.
too.
She's good looking. I like her, but just for me, not that high up there. But yeah,
Oh yeah, but she's
she is very beautiful.
her wrestling ability. Yeah.
Yeah.
uh-oh.
Yeah.
Wrestling ability.
Lot
That's
left
a
to be-
thing.
lot left to be desired there.
There's another loon popping in with a comment there.
I was gonna say I know this name.
Hey,
Uh,
what up, Logan? Is that a euphemism? I'm sure it was.
she has a
I'll show you my hockey stick too, Logan.
Oh, see, now you got it riled up.
Whoa.
Look, we're not prepared for those fines to come through on Facebook yet. So let's not do that.
We'll have to swap to a different streaming service. Just
Yeah.
give us a few minutes.
Let Tanner Hook flip it over to his OnlyTans.
Yeah, I've got an OnlyTans account.
Only kids, nice. Well done.
Canada. Live from Teal 5 Studios.
In
Yeah.
Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Ontania. It's
Ontario.
Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Thank you very much.
Canada.
Canada.
It's my country. They call me Tan Heart as
It's
well
his
as just
country.
Incredible.
Tis of tea.
Oh, brother. So, how about the survival of the fittest match? What do you guys think of that one? Yeah.
We got a little sidetracked there. It's okay. That's what happens with live shows.
A little bit. It's all good.
Yeah, audio issues and getting sidetracked.
Yeah, but we had our mic go out on us in the first 30 seconds, and then something else happened in the last 10 minutes on us. But I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's something with me. Sorry.
You know,
I should have warned you when you invited me. I'm sorry.
she just brings bad luck. It's what happens when you let women get involved in wrestling.
Oh, come
I
on.
saw that coming a mile away.
She brings bad luck. We
Only
bring the
because you've
boom.
got your glasses on, old man.
We bring the boom. That's what we do here at Teal 5. I should have my glasses on. I'm gonna.
So that's why I have to get close to you when I claw you.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
we literally
I
all
like
have
it when you
glasses
get
on
close
today.
to me to claw me, Professor Bear.
I knew you would.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, the young guy's the only one without his glasses on.
I'm new to the glasses game because I'm getting in.
Young.
Life now.
I'm young. The rest of us aren't.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have a 3 or a 7 like Professor Bear does at the start of your age. So
Were you born in the 1900s?
I was born in 1998, the great year of 1998,
Great year, 1998.
I've heard of that.
the year of our Lord Owen Hart.
I think that was when I got my first email address.
There you go.
I was 12 years old and watching. I was watching Bill Goldberg beat up Bret Hart.
Ugh. That's terrible.
Hey,
Terrible.
so
Seriously, you should watch him on NCIS like us old people do. Totally have a new viewpoint of him.
I still have a little energy in me yet, so I'm not ready for NCIS just yet.
All right, you'll get there. Give it a couple years, and then let me tell you, podcasting ages you.
why you got to get glasses.
Professor Bear is 27 years old.
Yes. Yogi is young and virile, and look what podcasting has done. It's taken his hair, it's taken his eyesight.
It's already taken my
Bad.
head, bro.
So
It's took in his mind. That's why he
He's
thinks
old
he's a
enough to
professor.
understand the Yogi joke. I mean, you probably don't even get it, do you, child?
Yogi Bear, Professor Bear, two
Yeah,
bears.
we get it.
Two
We get it.
bears.
I just tend to call
Well,
him.
Aaron, you get it because you're old too.
Yeah, boo. There's a picnic basket. Let's go on to the podcast.
Let's do a
goodness.
podcast, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
Yeah,
He'll be so upset that
Yeah.
we've been sidetracked again.
yeah. Juicebox is.
That's
never
what I
coming back.
do. Like, you should have listened to an episode of my show before you invited me on. Like,
You should have seen an episode of ours.
really should have.
So,
Yeah, you would have seen this coming a mile away.
so about survival of the fittest.
That's why you are here, Juicebox, to keep us on point.
So they fought in the first round. It was a 20-minute draw. They fought in Vegas. Crowd was kind of shit, but it was fine. You know,
It was very fine.
yeah. It
I
was
remember that match, and that is actually their shortest match because of the survival of the fittest rules.
Yeah, and it made sense because Nigel was champ and he was not gonna get pinned when he wasn't gonna go to survival of the fittest because at that point the winner got a title shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was it that won that survival of the fittest?
You know, 7.
Does anybody else hate when they put champions in tournaments?
Yeah.
Kinda like the G1, like when
Yeah.
kind of deal.
It's like, come on.
It's taking the point of the tournament away.
It does, and it takes like any surprise that you might have. It's just
And then if you beat the champion and still don't win the tournament, I still should get a shot at the title because I beat the champ.
Yeah.
right.
By the way, it was Chris Hero. that won that year.
Okay. So that's why he had the breakout cage match, I guess, in Dayton against Nigel.
Maybe I don't
I think
remember.
that was.
Um,
Yeah. I know they tried to push Hero real hard in Dayton because he's from that area,
Mhm.
and that was actually Danielson's last match was Hero in Dayton, and they did not hold back. I remember Danielson being very upset because they wouldn't let him take pictures with fans at the meet and greet before the show.
Really?
Yeah, and
Why?
then I don't know. I was the second person in line, and I
Oh,
took a
yeah.
picture
I
of
would have
him
been so pissed.
signing
Oh
my
yeah.
autograph, and the security guard was like, "No pictures." And Danielson stopped signing because he can't take a picture of me signing. Like, why?
I don't know. I just got them all in the parking lot after the show. Hey.
Or the Denny's across the street.
Or at Sports Plus in the little karaoke bar. That's where I got them.
My dad used to go to the ROH shows with me, and he was in a wheelchair, and I went to the bathroom and I put him like right at the ticket kiosk. And when I come back, he's there talking to Jerry Lynn randomly. I'm like, I'll leave you for 5 minutes, and he goes, "Look, little buddy, it's X Division pioneer Jerry Lynn." I'm like,
Is that how he introduced him?
yeah,
Because that is fabulous.
my dad loved TNA. He really did.
That is so amazing. Of all the things you can introduce Jerry Lynn as,
Right.
X Division pioneer.
So
Yeah.
I'll share one story real quick. One night after one of the shows, Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels got immensely drunk, and I was at the bar hanging out with like them and other people, like fans. Greg H and all those people were there. One of those kind of deals. And at the very end of the night, we're leaving, and Samoa Joe, wasted out of his mind, starts cutting a Hulk Hogan promo on me as we're leaving. He's just like, "You all go home, take your vitamins, and say your prayers." It just like went off. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Unfortunately, no like crazy stuff at the time to record it, but I promise it happened. It was very, very entertaining. So my little
I
story.
feel like there's a lot of stuff that happened at the after parties back then. It's probably a good thing there weren't cell phones now to make videos.
I'm sure of it.
I remember I met a guy in the parking lot like before the show to buy a bunch of burnt copies of ROH DVD. And like half of them were the wrong show from what he wrote on the label.
What are
Like,
we doing?
I put in a DVD expecting to see like the Final Battle 2004, and it was really like Wrath of the Racket.
Way off.
I mean, it could have been worse. At least it was still the same company. That would have been much worse.
At least the DVD worked. Some of them bootlegs, boy.
So you put it on, you get you get like Teletubbies or
a
something.
CD.
And my dad was with me, and he's smoking a cigarette, and he goes, "Feel like I'm in a drug deal for a bunch of bootleg wrestling DVDs, son."
I mean, essentially you were.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's important
Yeah,
stuff.
I got these right here.
Illegal trade of goods.
Yeah,
so.
you need like the trench coat. It's like, want to buy a DVD?
Yeah. Now I did. My dad broke his ankle and couldn't go to a show with me, so my brother, unfortunately, had to go with me. And
Unfortunately,
my brother doesn't like wrestling at all.
Ooh.
Like,
Tragic.
he might check into the show just because he's my brother, but that's it. So he goes to the ROH show, and we're talking about it beforehand, and it's, so what is there going to be, 1,000 people there? I said, no, you're looking like 250, 300, maybe. And it's, okay, well, there ought to be at least 4 or 5 good-looking girls there. So
You're not going to the club, my guy. What are you doing?
we get there, and he's just like, it's all a bunch of nerds who stink.
check it out.
Yeah.
So we sat there in this burning hot fairgrounds in Dayton, and he's just like, I'm going to make you go to a University of Tennessee football game with me for this. Because I hate college sports. So that was his revenge.
That's fair.
Yeah. Sorry, John, or Juicebox, what What's next?
What's next, Ubi?
We're getting off.
No, it's fine. I'm skimming through to see what we may have not even what match we may have not touched.
It's really first night, and he's
I
our play
think we hit them all.
Wait, was that Bear?
I thought we hit them all.
No. They wrestled in Japan once in 2008.
Now that one I did
You
not see.
I really do not remember them having this many matches.
Yeah, well, do I
And
have?
I don't know if I just remember like big ones or key moments or something, but like if you had told me they had like 11, 12 matches, I would have not believed it whatsoever. I would have thought they had maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah,
at
so this
most.
is Ring of Honor's DVD of like every match they ever had together. So that's the only reason I knew and had them all. But yeah,
Oh, and you're just like, oh yeah, I've got knowledge. I remember all of these shows.
Juicebox
in September of 2004. No.
It was a Saturday. The wind was coming out of the west at 13 miles.
No. I take bullet point notes to have just to be able to have talking points. But yeah, no, the Japan one. I mean, they definitely wrestled a Japanese style match. The crowd was a Japanese style crowd, so I thought it was fine. Again, another one like Survival of the Fittest, but just more of a low key kind of story. But and then besides
Not that low key.
Yeah, not that low key. The only other match I don't think we talked about there's their Driven match at the pay-per-view, the number one contenders match. I thought that was in Philly. That was a really good crowd. Really
Philly
good crowd.
ROH crowds, man, they were a thing.
Yeah, very very good crowd. At that point, that was like I think the midpoint where like you could tell like they were like really equal, and like Danielson wasn't up here, Nigel wasn't up here anymore. So I think Nigel finally kind of arrived at that point. Like the title was coming. I don't think he had it just yet. But
I feel like their first 4 matches are what made Nigel a main event guy.
Yep.
The main event guy.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the matches that they had while Nigel was champion were more to establish him as Danielson's second coming, so to speak, as far as the technical.
I always kind of felt like it was like to be his equal.
Yeah, well, I think that to me it felt like Danielson was leaving more so than it felt like Nigel was going to be leaving soon.
I mean, yeah, the whole tour was named after him, so I mean,
well, but no,
you're right, though. You're all right.
I feel like because of how quickly Punk left after being champion, and Joe started showing up less after his title reign.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of us kind of expected that with Danielson too, but he actually stuck around for another couple of years.
Yeah.
So I feel like we kind of established Nigel as his equal, and then we were like passing the torch, and then Nigel was going to have the opportunity to accept the torch with Danielson and leave, and then kind of got screwed out of it, and he didn't get the goodbye that Danielson did.
It should have been Nigel.
It should have been Nigel.
That's right.
Honestly, I think Nigel should have won their last match in Ring of Honor. Personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that it was the Final Countdown tour. That would have been the perfect ending to the Final Countdown tour.
Well, and the best part is that whole tour, like that whole final tour, however many matches it was, Danielson lost all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I thought he should have lost, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I wrote down, so their all-time record in Ring of Honor one-on-one was 5-3-2 in favor of Danielson. So it was pretty even. I mean, that's kind of why I wanted Nigel to win the last one, because it would have been 4-4-2.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it either way. That's just the nerdy numbers being even kind of thing. Hey, wait a minute. What's going on here?
You just now noticing it?
How long's that been there?
The last 5 minutes.
Well, see, I've been in the zone talking.
You're more of a professor than he is.
Well, that's because this is Ring of Honor. See,
Oh.
I'm in the South, so Ring of Honor was hard to get.
He's right. It was very
yeah, and I mean, Ring of Honor didn't. How many years were they around before they kind of traveled out of that, like the northeast, and they had that little bit in the Midwest? I mean, it took ages before they got down south.
And when we really got it was when they, when the owner of the Mavericks had his station and got it.
What is going on here? Okay, we're gonna change your name. Let me get in here.
I'm your play-by-play guy, Hoovy. Dude, on Real 5 Wrestling. What do you got for us, Hoovy?
Yeah,
fair enough.
Hoovy is our fifth man.
He's the straight man of the group.
See, this is my wheelhouse, but like anything like WCW, I got nothing. ECW, I got nothing. Like, I didn't start watching until you were born, Tan.
Well, me and Bear spent a lot of time on ECW month there on another show, and I'm so burnt out of talking about ECW. That's where my forte is, though. ECW and Japanese wrestling.
I didn't start watching until '98. So, and that was WWF. Anything before that, like I know a little bit about it, but I couldn't tell you like week to week crap.
I love WCW, and especially the NWO. That was my favorite thing. I watched some of the WWF back then, but it just wasn't for me. And as far as ECW, it was more that outlaw mud show garbage with light bulbs and tables and pizza cutters. And
the wall behind us here in the Till 5 studio is still a dedication to ECW all around the board.
We got TNA.
My big one was NWA, WCW.
I really liked Dr. Dre and Eazy-E as well.
Don't encourage him.
I love the delay from Wiggy. No, don't.
Don't encourage this.
Look,
it's gonna happen anyway. I might as well have fun with it too.
I mean, true enough.
I like the NWA.
It was funny because like NWA wasn't on here, at least where I am. So like I heard about like a lot of things that were going on, like I saw it on sorry about that. I saw it on I hear about it. I used to listen to live audio wrestling when it first started. I don't know if any of you know that. Apparently, I don't even know if it still exists anymore. But it was really, that's how I knew about things, was I used to listen to that. But like when WCW started airing here, it was like Tuesday night at midnight. Like, and it's like WWE was on, live and everything, but like WCW was, I think there were nothing but, there were two replays. One was Tuesday at midnight and one was at like Wednesday at like 4. So it wasn't an easy thing to find. So I just kind of like, whatever I heard and then gradually like read online, that was all I got. And as far as I remember, ECW didn't come on here until they were just about out of business.
Wow. Perfect.
So it's like we missed all of the TV and stuff.
See, my era, if you didn't get certain ones, you had to buy the wrestling magazines. And God, I have a ton of them. I still have them.
Oh, so do I. I have a drawer full of ones from like the late 99 and 2000. Well, if anybody wants to buy any of them, feel free to hit me up on Facebook.
Actually, the last few messages that me and Wiggy had sent was her asking me if I was interested in some wrestling magazines.
Yeah. And if you are, I still have them.
Hey, look, I actually love to buy the old WCW and World of Wrestling magazines. I love those. But
I have like WWE magazines. I have WWF magazines. I had the first episode. I had the first magazine of SmackDown magazine.
I don't remember SmackDown magazine.
I don't either.
Yeah, it didn't last long
because they had a Raw magazine.
They had Raw and WWE, so they brought.
This will tell you how far I go back. I got the first 500 wrestlers when they first came out with the list, the 500.
Oh, the PWI?
Yeah.
The PWI.
Okay.
Yes, wow. I got the first. I think I got till the 9th one. Then I stopped buying them.
Is that on papyrus?
Hieroglyphics. I don't even think do they
He
still
gets
release
2
it physical?
stone tablets delivered with 250 names.
Do they even still
Bro.
make a physical DWI now? I don't even think
Yes, they do.
They do. Because I know they
Do they?
stopped like for the
Yep.
whole year, but I guess
Yeah.
they just released that one now physically.
Yeah, no, they I think it's every 3 months they come out with the physical ones.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
I was gonna
I
say.
thought I saw they were going digital, but okay. I don't really.
Well,
I
and
don't do
that's
the magazine stuff, so I don't really collect them.
right. And I actually do get the digital ones
Oh,
too,
cool.
right to this day.
All right, neat.
Professor really
My strong suit is indies. That's
Is indies okay?
I think it's cool we all have different strong suits.
Yeah.
As far
Oh
as that.
yeah,
I'll tell you, if I didn't discover Ring of Honor in 2005, I probably wouldn't be watching wrestling anymore. Because the whole reason I got into it was because I was so done with WWF. I was done with Cena and Batista, and it was just like, it wasn't what I really liked anymore. And I was so fed up with it. And it wasn't even PG yet. I didn't like Mysterio. Still don't like Mysterio. Hot take, sorry.
That was
But,
my introduction to Ring of Honor. Is that around 2014 or 15, I got so tired of watching WWE. TNA got really crappy around that point.
Yeah.
And on a random station, I found Ring of Honor. I think it would air on like Monday nights at like 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. I was immediately
And
wrapped up in it.
For me, it was very much the same. Like I was about out of wrestling. It just wasn't fun to me anymore. And I had a friend that was a big Ring of Honor fan, and he suggested a couple of shows to me. I got Night of the Grudges and Main Event Spectacles, the Best of CM Punk, and Bret Hart's book, his autobiography, because it was just out there.
Everybody wants Bret Hart.
Yeah.
I was.
Sorry, go.
Oh, good. That's
No,
all
you're
right.
good. Please.
Oh. I was like same thing. Done with WWF. I developed a bizarre obsession with Raven, and I found a tape trader online, and I bought a bunch of terrible videos, and I saw part of it was his feud with Punk in ROH, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then that was it. But it the same thing. I was like in Canada, so I was very much used to the whole I can watch things, but that's it. And then they came to Buffalo, and my first show was October 2005, and I was so mad because I was a huge Punk fan, and he was already gone by then. And, Buffalo Stampede was my first show. And I walked in the door. I was there with a friend of mine, and we drove over, and I was freaking out. This was, I think, like the third indie show I'd ever been to. So I'm like completely like
all geeked out.
So over the I was so excited, and I was so freaked out. And we're walking in, and the doors of this place were open, and inside I see Homicide and the Havana Pitbulls. And I like started to shake. I was like, oh my god. And he's like holding me up, walking me in. And I was like, hi. It was awesome. And I took pictures with them all, and I towered over all three of them.
Tanner didn't get to experience old ROH shows.
Yeah.
That first time of getting to beat on the guardrail.
Oh.
Like I'm so mad. I never got to do the Miseria Cantare. I always wanted to, but you know what? I would have been really mad because everybody always screwed it up. Like they never got it right. But yeah, the guardrails and being careful, like because under no circumstances did you want to injure yourself on those guardrails because that was gangrene for sure.
You didn't want to sit on the front row, but you wanted to sit close enough to beat on the guardrail.
Oh yeah. I was good for every show except one show they got me where Christian Cage threw Colt Cabana into the barricade. It got me right in the knee. Not a good week to follow. But it's funny. I feel like I'm at like a Wrestling Fan Anonymous right now where we're like, I was out of wrestling.
Right?
Hello, my name is John.
Yes. Hi, John.
I guess I'm the only one who never got out of it. I was burnt, like you said, when WCW went out, and it was just WWFE, whatever. I was just like, ugh. I watched it, but I really wasn't into it. Then trying to find TNA, finding what channel they were on was like playing Russian.
It was like pulling teeth. It was ridiculous. Yeah.
Yep.
Same up here. Like you just.
So I kept my eye on it, but I didn't really have my heart into it. Then finally, I started seeing the independents, and like today, we have 2 former NWA world champions on WWE programming, and that to me is amazing.
I get it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
3 actually. Cody, Aldis, and Pierce.
that's true.
Well, Cody don't count. They just did it because he's dead.
Whoa! If Rob Conway counts, Cody counts.
Now Rob was the man.
Yes,
Rob
he was, dude.
the man.
Cody
he
Rhodes
was.
is still the man. Okay, so
Yeah.
Yeah, he just had the tales of Goldust and Dusty.
Yeah, when I went to my first Ring of Honor show, I had no idea what it was. I was only going because a friend of mine told me Foley was going to be there because it was on Long Island. And so first show I ever went to, first person to ever come out was CM Punk. He had just won the belt the show prior, signed his WWE contract, signed his contract on the Ring of Honor belt. That's my first Ring of Honor experience. I was like, all right, who's this guy? Like going and signing. It became one of my favorites. And then the second show I went to, Danielson won the belt for the first time. And then the third show I went to, Joe versus Kabashi. So I mean, someone that was disenfranchised with WWE, that was a hell of a way to like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay, my first ROH main event was Adam Pearce and Nigel title versus title at Battle for Supremacy.
Okay.
It ended in a disqualification.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
You know, I've never had the pleasure of being at an ROH show. However,
you never even went to one?
Pleasure of being at the Jay Briscoe Memorial Show at Rep Arena
nice.
for AEW. So that was really cool.
Yeah. And that's
I have
Yeah,
never been to a ROH show either, unfortunately.
Well, we got to get that done, Professor Bear, if they ever get it together.
Yeah.
but you're gonna have to go to Collision.
I guess we're going to
Well, I guess technically I was because they had the dark match before
That's true.
Dynamite, but
I don't know.
They weren't doing that yet when we went. They had they were taping Dark Elevation still before Dynamite when we went.
See, when I went to Collision, first off, I'm a diehard CM Punk fan and have been since the first time I saw him in ROH.
I'm with you.
And the Collision I went to was the Golden Vampire when he was under a mask. And then he was gone.
Yep.
So I got to see CM Punk for like 45 seconds.
He busted through the real glass and went back to WWE.
Yeah, well.
Scapegoat, send him packing, buddy.
hypocrite.
Not gonna touch that one. It's the
Look,
first,
See, you know what? I feel the same way about Cody.
why is Cody a hypocrite?
I hate Cody.
No,
Well, I mean, just in the whole like he like kind of shit talked WWE and he left and he's like, oh, like I'll show you, and then
Broke a throne with the
when he and all like those kind of like petty little things, and then he goes back, and I just when he went back, I was just kind of like I wasn't a huge fan of him before then, but that kind of did me in. I was
honestly,
like,
he knew from the start what he was doing.
Oh yeah.
He was never staying. His goal was always to go back.
oh yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
So
Well, in that case, then he probably should have done some of the stuff he did or said some of the stuff he did.
That's
I
kind
get
of how I feel.
Yeah,
But
right now I feel the same about Mercedes Moné because it's very clear that at some point I think she'll go back to WWE, and
look, she can go anytime she wants because
You know what?
over her.
she could go back. I mean, I thought the same thing, but honestly, I think her having the freedom she can have right now is really what she. I mean, we'll see. It depends how
She
long.
just seemed to be having a good time. I'll give her
Yeah,
that.
I think she really wants the freedom to do other things
Yeah.
with her name, and she's not going to have that. Even going back,
Yeah,
to
like
or,
She's done like some acting stuff, right?
yeah, she's been
on
with
the
Star
Mandalorian.
Wars.
I
Yeah.
think she likes being in her
Right.
own little dynamic world right now.
Yeah.
So.
In the
Yeah,
end,
where she sorry, go.
I was gonna say in the end, they're all hypocrites because, but
Yeah.
that's what they have to be because they're trying to make us believe in certain things. So
And money talks, bullshit walks. That's pro wrestling.
exactly.
You know?
And you name a promotion whose booker was not an asshole who always won the title because they couldn't trust anybody or their kid or their great drinking buddy. So it's the business. So again, I get it, but some hypocrites just get on my nerves like Punk.
Yeah, some just kind of rub you a bit the wrong way. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, and I will admit that I'm a hypocrite when it comes to that. Like, there's some people where it's like, I'm more than willing to accept it because I'm a fan of them.
I think that Punk didn't belong in AEW anymore.
He's boring me to tears on WWE programming. Since
He
he's been
belongs
back.
on more of a show like that. Like him and Cody are entertainers now.
And I don't even disagree with you on that. But I guess what irritates me with Punk more, because Cody I'm okay with. Punk was he's sitting here I'm trying to give advice and I'm the veteran and this, that, the other. But Punk did the same thing when he was younger. Don't tell me, let me. So how in the world now you're a veteran and you're trying to pass on advice? And that's cool. But if the guys don't want to hear it, shut up. Let them get it out.
Hey, he shut it up and let Jack Perry not do that on Collision.
No, he shut up when he beat up Perry and got fired.
He asked Perry if he had a problem, and then Perry didn't have a problem anymore.
Yeah, he didn't because CM Punk went back to the other company.
Hey, it worked out great for everybody.
It's worked out great for Jack Perry.
Except for Tony Khan.
Yeah.
And
I miss Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
See, I
honestly, it worked out great for Tony Khan because, and I know a lot of people diss Khan every chance they get, but the one thing you got to realize, Khan is getting to do something that all of us would love to do. We would love.
He's like the ultimate of us.
Exactly.
If we were billionaires,
if any of the five of us had the budget we had, we would do the exact same thing.
If we were billionaires, we'd be running the company how we wanted to as well.
Except for in case Jeff Jarrett would be world champion right now.
So Danny Mauricio writes in chat, Juice loves his Punk talk. Let me just say, respectfully, I'm going to keep. He looks like he agrees 100%. Yeah, I'm going to keep how I feel. Because at this point, this is something honestly, I know it sounds dramatic. I'm never going to emotionally recover from this because it sucked when they did it. It really, really sucked when he left AEW. I was livid and pissed off.
I was very bummed out.
I'm still mad, and I don't think I'm ever going to get over it. So for my own sake, I'm going to bow out of that conversation because I don't want to get worked up. But I am still livid. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit.
I will say this. I like a lot of different wrestlers for different reasons. I'm a big Samoa Joe fan.
That's my guy, Bear.
But I'm one of the first people to admit Samoa Joe loses every time with a damn roll up. You would think he would know now. With a roll up.
It's the most dangerous move in sports entertainment history.
Just ask Orange Cassidy. He gets win after win after win after win. Roll-ups.
Well, yeah, that's Orange Cassidy and Moxley for you. I feel that way about Mox. He's got stuff like that. I love Mox enough. The last thing I'll add about Punk, I just want to put it out there. I know I'm a hardcore Punk fan. I'm fully aware he is an asshole. Like, I'm not blind to that. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm like, oh, Punk did nothing wrong. He's a dick. I know.
Look, that's the same thing with me. Like,
bullshit.
You know that he's kind of a jerk. So anyways.
That's like saying you are a women's wrestling fan.
Like, I'm a jerk sometimes, and I know this.
I mean, like, Punk, kind of broke through 20 years ago. And if there's three of us on here who consider ourselves to be big Punk fans, at some point in those last 2 decades, we had to come to grips with the fact that he's kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Well, and
And you have to say to yourself, am I okay with being a fan of a piece of shit? And you go, yeah, I really am. Moving on.
I think he's a good. I do think he's a good person.
Yeah.
He's still a piece of shit. Like I don't
At
think
times.
Yeah,
I think with his people, with his own group of people, he's probably fabulous. Get shirt off the back kind of guy. But once you get
wrong with that mentality,
I think he's got a big ego problem when it comes to the business.
100%.
Yeah.
I care about the people that are in my life and in my circle substantially more than the 500 other mouth breathers I'm going to meet.
No, but I mean, like, I feel like Punk kind of takes it a step further than that. You know, like, you're either one of his people or he treats you like dirt.
Right. And the thing about it, even though I dislike him, I do respect he will come out. I'm about the money. I was like, you know what? I appreciate that. I'm okay with that. But don't sit there and say that, and then you turn around and knock the other wrestler for saying the same thing. And you hadn't earned the right to. Man, get the.
Lord, well, that was not on the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I know that.
Yogi After Dark, man. Wow.
Man. That's going to be the name of the podcast. Yogi After Dark.
There you go.
Hey, that can also air on OnlyFans.
That can.
I was going to say, if you wanted, that'd be a good name for an OnlyFans. OnlyFans. Yeah.
You can be his bear.
No, thank you.
Oh, would you be his boo-boo?
Will you let him get in your picnic basket?
I'm the only
Spidey's like, before I get...
Wait a minute. Y'all really don't want this YouTube account, I can see.
Spidey is Homer Simpsoning his way through, backing up through the hedge right now. Yeah.
Look, we'll catch us later for Professor Bear After Dark live on OnlyFans.
So about survival of the fittest. No.
Look, we have. I know that I told you guys we would all be on here an hour. We've all been on here an hour and a half.
Yes. I literally been getting a phone call because I was supposed to be on the meeting.
This is way more fun.
You're a busy man. Busy man.
This is a higher priority.
Naturally.
So, Professor Bear, we'll go ahead and let you. Is there anything you've got going on in your world you need to promote and talk about?
So with WSN, our app, we are updating every 2 weeks now. We're getting new content, and we're working on something that I don't think a lot of people would see coming, but we're going to bring something to the app and to the world of wrestling that gets ignored. But next couple of weeks, we're going to have a big announcement.
I did see that you're going to be doing this Thunder in Paradise potentially. You're going to have that on the app.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Wow. I'm looking forward to that.
The fans voted for it because you know damn well I wouldn't have put it on there if it was my choice.
Look, that's very television.
Again, like always, thank y'all for having me. Even though I had to put up with certain people, that's okay.
I'm sorry, he's my co-host. I have to let him be on here.
That's my buddy. That's my buddy.
Oh, that's your little boo-boo buddy.
I'm his little boo-boo. There you go. I'll give it to the fans one time for the Steel Fibers.
Professor Bear, we do appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
I look forward to showing you that I know more about wrestling than you do because you're an old man who's got Alzheimer's.
Oh boy.
Hey, I may have Alzheimer's, but you can't see over in the corner all those videotapes. These things called VCR.
Yep.
I got those too, so I'm ready.
I've got several hundred of those actually stashed away under our hutch in the kitchen that my wife likes to tell me, honey, can you get rid of these things already? Every few weeks.
Hey, you know what? At least you got all Alzheimer's, not the Partzheimer's. That's a plus. Right?
On that note, Juicebox.
Hello.
What have you got going on?
Yeah. So I host a weekly podcast as well over on the Twitch side. And I'm actually going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to post the link up in your chat right now. So it's in the Facebook chat for anyone watching if you want to check it out. Again,
here we go.
we host it there it is for all you to see. It's twitch.tv/the_sharpshooters. We are live every Thursday night at 7 p.m. We do about an hour and a half as well. And we talk weekly about wrestling, AEW, and WWE as well. It's me and my co-host, Danny. We usually have a third host, but he's out on paternity leave right now. He just had a kid, so he's taking some time. And, we talk wrestling. We also do some rankings. We do some
You do a meter meter.
What's
A meat
Yes.
meter.
We recently just did what we call the meat-o-meter, where we discussed who one of my co-hosts considers a big man wrestler or not. He has very specific a threshold for if you're under 6'6" and 300 pounds, you are not considered a big man. And so a lot of names there didn't fall under his radar, like Samoa Joe, Big E. He thinks they're not big men. So we had a whole episode about it. What's that?
I don't necessarily think that they are either.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other thing. We won't dive into that now. We're just doing our plugs. But yes, you can check us out on Twitch. Also on the Twitch, you can see a link to our YouTube channel and our Twitter. I have a Twitter, all that good socials. But the Twitch is the most important one. Please do follow and subscribe and check us out. Be awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too. I know you talk.
I love you, Mrs. Bird.
Aw.
I just know that you want rid of my wrestling VHS tapes.
Crystals.
Maybe I should maybe I should take some of those to Professor Bear.
That's what I was going to say. We worked out a deal.
Hey, we're going to be in Knoxville soon.
Now, Wiggy, you used to have a lot going on. I'm imagining that currently you don't yet.
I don't, but I'm slowly kind of working my way back in. Stateside, CZW has a few shows coming up. They're in Houston on October 19th, Scranton October 26th. Cage of Death was announced as returning this year at Tournament of Death this past Saturday.
How long?
And that is coming back for the first time in a few years. And that is, in fact, happening this year. Before the end of the year, there will be a Cage of Death. Up here, I'm kind of affiliated with what I would say is the best indie wrestling that you could find in Canada, at the very least in Ontario. Pro Wrestling Ontario, if I may. I'm just going to put the name in the chat there for everybody to check it out. You can check out their YouTube, their social media. They post lots of stuff, but they're also available for you all Americans on IWTV. So I cannot recommend this enough. Seriously, go check it out, because there's a lot of guys who've come through these Canadian indie companies who you now see on TV. Yeah, most notably, I would say probably Daniel Garcia. So you're kind of, when you see indie guys up here, you're kind of seeing the future. So definitely check out IWTV and do a quick search for Pro Wrestling Ontario and see what we got going on up here.
So that's the reason why they didn't get back with me, because I reached out to them about doing some business.
Ooh.
With who?
With us. WSN.
No, with Pro Wrestling Ontario?
Yes.
All right, we will chat after the show.
Because we actually have another Canadian independent group that's on the app right now. And that's,
okay. Yeah, we're gonna need to. Who's that? Can you tell me, or do you want to?
It is Hammerlock Pro Wrestling. So,
you know where they're based out of? Because I've never heard of them.
Oh yeah. I'm probably saying it wrong. My stuff is a mix, but afterwards we'll definitely talk.
Yeah. Shoot me a message, because that's very, very interesting to hear.
Yes.
go. I like how he
Yeah.
asks everybody else about business, but never mentions it to us.
Business.
Yeah.
Oh man, I already put. Look, I was gonna say something, but I already got y'all on our podcast room and LinkedIn. You know I do, so I don't even know why you even trying to start.
I like to tease. I will acknowledge that Professor Bear does know a lot about wrestling, not as much as me, but that's
We'll
okay.
see.
You know,
I'll design the questions maybe.
you
for
can
this.
you can make the questions.
I
don't
like
care.
that.
I'm impartial.
Yes,
because
you are.
I
like
like you better than ATB, actually, Professor Bear, so I guess I am a little partial.
I kind of think that might take away from me being impartial.
We appreciate you all joining us for Till 5 Wrestling tonight. If you want to buy some of our merchandise, like this sweet cup here,
Or maybe this tweet
or
cup.
that sweet cup, you can catch them on our Redbubble. We've got all sorts. We have the debut Theo Hughes shirt.
That's right.
Yeah, Mr. Good Grief himself.
Book him, pay him.
Yeah,
Theo Hughes.
yeah. You can catch our podcast every week right here on Facebook and YouTube when Justin remembers to just upload it on time. And
Can I quickly throw out my social media, because I completely forgot to plug my own self. You can follow me on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. On Twitter, on Instagram, on Threads, and you can find me on Facebook at Wiggy Gator. And this is for a few people out there listening. This is just for you guys. WIGGYGATOR.
Hey. Hey. Like it.
Right? It's like, apparently I sing it. So.
WIGGY.
Oh, dude, get out of town, man.
By letting everyone
Ooh.
once again that I am the Teal 5 Wrestling World Champion.
you're stripped of the belt.
Sorry about that. What?
Wow. Breaking news.
You're stripped of the belt.
So when do you put that on the line?
I'm gonna throw this in the damn garbage. Is what I'm gonna do. Like I'm Shane Douglas.
You should put that on the line in the trivia contest.
Oh, there's an idea.
Our garbage bag,
We
our
just made a
garbage can
giant
just
mess.
fell over. Thank you. I guess that's how we sign off shows. We break something.
All right.
Guys, it has been a blast. I hope
That's
that the
cool.
viewers have enjoyed it. I hope that we can do this again because I really like this crew of people here.
Heck yeah.
Even if Professor Bear lies about being a professor and a bear.
Oh man.
I lie about being a professor, never a bear.
Wow. Well, there's the truth.
There's a couple of meanings of bear, Herman.
and he
let's
can
think
be
about
that. He's allowed.
Yeah, he's allowed. Hey, it's
Listen, we don't judge Yogi. Knock
Yeah.
it off.
Do
Listen,
not make me get my wife to come in here.
Listen, I'm not a juice, but I am a box. So
And he's not moving. And he's
works both
definitely not
ways.
moving. I do feel
But he
doomed,
loves Christian Cage.
but he
I
loves
do.
my father, Christian Cage.
I do love Christian Cage.
All right.
All right,
I do.
we'll do this again.
Hell
It's
yeah.
been a blast.
Peace out, everybody.